Welcome to the Daily Allegory through Astrological Divination. Today's video is the Fractal Code of Control, Saturn's Law of Limitation, and the inverse square of a dirty organization. For today's video, I had x-rays on the mind, so I kind of ran on the concept of physics through Beer's law and the law of the inverse square as a muse, if you will. And of course, I did my normal, quirky, nonsensical BS with it. And rather than my daily prayer, we are going to be doing quite a lovely, bulky invocation today. I call this the invocation, this assembly of law, balance, and virtue. I call to the silent, unchanging law of the universe. I seek not power, but balance. Not favor, but fairness. Not vengeance, but truth. I align my spirit with the divine principles of order and equity. Invoking the pillars of justice, by the scales of Themis and the divine order of Maat, let my intentions be weighed with impartiality and truth. By the starry gaze of Astrea, who watches from the heavens, let the light of justice never fade from earth. By the wisdom of Minerva and Athena, goddess of righteous strategy and law, grant me the clarity of mind to discern right from wrong. By the final judgment of Osiris, Lord of the dead, and the established law of Marduk, let all actions face their appropriate and balanced consequence. By the sacrifice and courage of Tyre, I ask for strength to uphold law, even at great personal costs. Calling to the hand of correction and harmony, to Nemesis, the inevitable hand of divine retribution, I ask that all imbalances be corrected and that arrogance be brought to heel. To the great Archangel Raguel, the friend of God and the overseer of fairness, guide me in harmonizing relationships and restoring equilibrium where there is discord. Bring your corrective and balancing energies into my life and the world around me. Integrating the virtues and transformations, I invoke the four cardinal virtues, prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance as the foundational pillars of my character. Guide me through the fires of the alchemical Rubeno stage, that I may achieve not just the goal of wisdom, but the vibrant, unified consciousness of a fully realized and integrated self. Let the raw elements of chaos be refined into a just and balanced existence. Our affirmations: the law is established, the balance is set, the virtues are my guide. Justice prevails, so mote it be. It is now a declaration that is. I offer gratitude to all the powers that are invoked, seen and unseen. May their guidance remain. Hail and farewell. I declare it to be, and so it is. Now Thomas, a disgraced academic, had built his entire career on a grand, elegant lie. He was a master of the intellectual illusion, a consequence of his natal Saturn conjunct Neptune in the 9th house, which is today's placement. This conjunction had given him the gift of structuring elaborate philosophical narratives that, while compelling, were ultimately founded on an idealistic fantasy of his own making. A beautiful mirage of academic thought that others often mistook for fact. The 9th house rules higher learning and dogma, and Thomas's work had become the cornerstone of a new field of thought, a truth that he quite literally manufactured. His organization, we'll call it the foundation of Athelian thought, was built on the shaky ground. It was a perfectly dirty organization, its true function hidden behind a pristine academic veneer. Metaphorically, the foundation's bureaucratic structure was a fractal, though, with each department and subsection mirroring the corrupt whole, a self-similar pattern of deceit repeating endlessly. Just an ongoing abstract geometric pattern reflecting one another. perpetually. The mitochondria here functions as a reference for this dirty organization. Came to life in a way the Foundation produced its intellectual currency, like a cell's powerhouse. Each individual's research and labor was converted into a collective, malevolent energy that fueled the organization's overarching lie. The truth, though, however, was beginning to surface. Thomas's Saturn trine sensitive degree in Lilith in the 12th house had quietly initiated a slow, deliberate process of revealing what was hidden, pulling the curtain, if you will. The 12th house governed secrets and institutions, and Lilith's influence was the untamed, repressed truth that could no longer be contained. Thomas, though, who had structured his entire reality, was now faced to confront the hidden reality that he had suppressed. The truth began its journey not with a bang, but a whisper. A young researcher, Monique, started to notice inconsistencies in the data. She realized that the further she got from the Foundation's core documents, the closer she got to the truth. The more the information literally became clear. This is what's known as the inverse square law applied through an X-ray metaphor to this application. Now, the inverse square law in action is the intensity of the lie's influence diminished exponentially the further she distanced herself from its source. The opposite was also true. The closer you got to the heart of the Foundation, the more saturated and obscuring the lie became. Monique also discovered that the Foundation's public-facing research papers were like a murky solution governed by Beer's law. The more layers of misdirection and false data, the concentration of dirty substance were added. Now, the more light, which is truth here, was absorbed, and the less it was transmitted to the public, which was applied from the concept of an X-ray. It's the light being absorbed into material. Fueled by her discoveries, Monique went searching for the original source documents. Deep within the Foundation's archives, a place Thomas had structured to be forgotten and out of bounds, she found them. The surfacing of original documents was the final blow here. The surfacing, they were not grand, well-written theories, but crude, fragmented notes and observations from Thomas's early career, revealing his initial discovery of a profound truth before he decided to distort it for personal gain. The documents proved his founding lie was a deliberate fabrication. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction had brought the dissolution in Thomas's cherished idealistic dream to a harsh, structured reality. Thomas's carefully constructed world of lies and secrets was coming to an end. A quiet collapse that began not with a loud public scandal, but with the slow, inevitable surfacing of the repressed truths he had so carefully buried. Hopefully not in his backyard or in a floorboard in his apartment or house. I have numbers here. I have number 25 for Saturn, being the Archangel Nithaya, which is God who gives wisdom, or King of the Heavens. Now, the angelic order he belongs to is Choir of Dominions. Hashmalim in Hebrew texts, an order associated with spiritual authority and divine providence. Primal virtues and power, he is primarily known for granting wisdom, revealing hidden truths, and understanding esoteric knowledge, and the effective use of magic and spiritual power. He is the master of spiritual wisdom and the occult sciences. Anybody wielding this energy probably know a thing or two. Now, interpretation of number 25, which he is associated with, itself holds significance in numerology as 2 and 5 is 7. A number associated with spirituality, introspection, wisdom, and completion. In the context of Neith Haya, this number symbolizes the pursuit of higher truth, a deep drive to understanding the underlying laws of the universe, mastery over self and the environments. The wisdom granted by the angel leads to self-mastery and the ability to influence one's surroundings in a very positive, spiritually aligned way. This is not a falsity or a pious front. This is a genuine embodiment of energy that is very obvious when you objectively view it from a third-party view. And hidden wisdom revealed. The number 25 can signify that a period of seeking is over, and the deep previously hidden wisdom is now accessible. It's like a discovery for all to see. If you interpret the number 25 as a message from this angel, it could be a sign to trust your intuition. Delve deeper into your spiritual studies or acknowledge that you possess the wisdom needed to overcome current challenges. And I also have Psalm 17, which I usually associate with lunar energy. For me, it is a number of the moon, which dictates a hidden secret within. So this is Psalm 17, a prayer of David in which he appeals to God for justice and divine protection from his enemies. The psalm is characterized by David's assertion of his own integrity and righteousness in the face of an unjust persecution. It's like a witch hunt that was created by a witch against somebody they want to steal energy from. How weird would that be? Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you found it entertaining. Make good choices out there, guys.